Michael Gove, he is without a doubt the slimiest politician to ever grace this green earth. He turned avoiding the question into masterpiece theatre, like when he was asked whether he would still go for a no-deal Brexit if Parliament made it illegal.
If this legislation goes through Parliament, both houses of Parliament, does the government abide by it?
Let's see what the legislation says.
But surely the answer has to be yes, it's the law.
Let's see what the legislation says. You're asking me about a pig in a poke, and I will wait to see what legislation the opposition may try to bring forward, but we know what their intention is.
We're in constitutional times, but for a government to say we won't abide by legislation is impossible, surely.
We will see what the legislation says when it is put forward.
But the worst thing about Michael Gove goes far beyond his sliminess, because you've all seen the most famous video of Michael Gove from the Brexit campaign, but you've probably not thought about how that affected the pandemic a few years later. Because we all know that a key element of fascism is a hostility towards experts and academics, because they have the credibility to challenge those in power. Well, it was Michael Gove who really opened that box for the Johnson regime, establishing that the will of the British people, and their freedom, as defined by him of course, was much more important than experts who should be ignored.
I think the people in this country have had enough of experts with organisations from acronyms
people of this country have had enough of experts.
From organisations with acronyms saying that they know what is best and getting it consistently wrong.
And then when the pandemic came and it was the government's job to restrict people's freedom by telling them to listen to experts, Boris Johnson locked down late in what the Parliament's inquiry called one of the worst public health failures in UK history. For example, on the exact same day that SAGE, an expert body with an acronym, was saying that we shouldn't shake hands because of coronavirus, Boris Johnson was saying it was okay to shake hands with COVID patients.
I'm shaking hands continuously. I was at a hospital the other night where I think there were actually a few coronavirus patients, and I shook hands with everybody, you'll be pleased to know, and I continue to shake hands, and I think it's very important that we, people obviously can make up their own minds. I think that Matt has said that people must make up their own minds.
There is an important difference between our country and many other countries around the world, and that is our country is a freedom-loving country. And it is very difficult to ask the British population uniformly to obey guidelines in the way that it is necessary.
And those early decisions, driven by the anti-expert, pro-freedom philosophy that Michael Gove himself helped unleash, caused about 30,000 avoidable deaths. And that's not me saying that, Michael Gove himself said it. But being the king of slime, he tried to shift the blame onto Boris Johnson.
A decision to restrict freedoms in an unprecedented way went against his instincts and the principles that governed his political outlook.
And as for being the king of slime, you've all seen my video with Michael Gove where I went head-to-head with him, asking him whether or not Brexit has damaged the country and made us poorer. Yeah, I'll put the link if you haven't, but may he never know rest or peace.